Welcome to Angles and Angle Measure. So today we're going to talk about how we do angles on a coordinate grid. So first we're going to start talking about how we're drawing angles, or how we do degrees on a coordinate grid. We always start at the 0 degree line, so basically your positive x-axis. Then we always go in a counterclockwise direction if it's a positive degree measure. So I start at the positive x-axis and then I would go this direction if it's positive. Now if we're talking a negative degree measure, we're going to start again at your x-axis and then go down to draw a negative angle measure. So if we have here 30 degrees would be going up, or a negative 30 degrees would be going down. But when you draw an angle, it always starts at your positive x-axis. So we're going to start by drawing angles of each of these angle measures. One thing you do need to pay close attention to, and I would write down, your positive y-axis is 90 degrees, your negative x-axis is 180 degrees, and your negative y-axis is 270 degrees. This is going to be important so you know where to draw an angle on the coordinate grid. So when we start here with 210 degrees, I'm going to start by drawing my x and my y axis. Remember, when we start, the first part of my angle starts here at the origin and then goes for the positive x-axis. Now if we're looking at 210 degrees, if I go all the way straight up, that's 90 degrees, so I need more. If I go over, that's 180. If I go all the way down here, that's 270. So if I'm looking here is 180 degrees, and down here is 270, I know 210 is 30 degrees more than 180. So I'm just going to estimate where that would fall, and then I'm going to draw a line or a curve that represents all the degree measure and label this 210 degrees. So that's how we draw a 210 degree angle. Now let's go ahead and do the negative 70 degrees, and then I'll get to the 900 degrees in just a minute. If we want to do negative degrees, I again start with my vertex at the origin, and then my positive x-axis is where we start. Because it's negative, that means I need to start measuring going down. So if I'm going down, your negative y-axis would be negative 90 degrees. Well, negative 70 is less than, or is between 0 and negative 90. So I'm going to draw a line here that's going to represent my negative 70 degree angle. So again, negative just means that I'm going down. Now let's try the 900. That is a really big angle. So what you need to do, remember, going all the way around in one circle is 360 degrees. So it is possible, if you've ever watched any of the extreme sports where you see skateboarders or snowboarders and they do 360s, 480s, a whole bunch of different more than 360 degree angles. And what that means is they're going around more than one rotation. So what we need to do is figure out how many rotations that we have here. So I'm going to start by subtracting 360 degrees. So 900 minus 360 gives me 540. That's still bigger than 360. So I'm going to subtract 360 again, and gives me 180. So what that means is 900 went around once. So again, starting the vertex here at the origin and my positive x-axis. So I'm going to start here and I go around once, that's 360. Twice, that's another 360, and it's telling me it's going to end up over here at where 180 degrees is. So that's what a 900 degree angle looks like. So we're going to go on from here, and we're going to look at basically what I just did. If we have these angle measures that are bigger than 360 or are negative, how do we figure out exactly where it goes on the graph? So how we do that, it's called coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are angles that have different numbers, but they end up at the exact same spot. So I have a picture here where we have many different degree angles, 60 degrees, 780 degrees, negative 300 degrees. And when they're drawn, they all end up, or they share the same terminal side. So they end up at the same spot. So 60 degrees here, 780 went around once, twice, and then ended up at 60 degrees. And negative 300 went down and around and ended up there. So what we're going to talk about is how we find out coterminal angles. Basically, how we find coterminal angles is you're either going to add or subtract 360 degrees to find what the next degree measure is. You add 360 if you want to make the number larger. You subtract 360 if you want to make it smaller. So here, we want to find the measure of a coterminal angle that measures 60 degrees in standard position. So, there's a couple different ways we could do it, and I'll show you both ways. If we start at 60 degrees, you can add 360, because what that means, we go 60 degrees from the x-axis and then go another 360, which ends us up in the same exact spot. So 60 plus 360 will give me 420. So 420 degrees is coterminal with 60. Or you could do the exact opposite and subtract 360. Because if we're subtracting, that means we're going in the opposite direction. So the opposite direction then would end up at negative 300 degrees. So those are a couple of different degree angles that are coterminal with 60, which again means they end up in the same spot. So let's try another one. We want to find a measure of a coterminal angle with negative 480. So if it's negative, that means it's really small. So I don't really want to make it any smaller. So instead of subtracting 360, I'm going to add 360. So negative 480 plus 360 is going to give me negative 120 degrees. Well, that's one coterminal angle, but I don't know about you. When I think of degree measures, I always think of them as positive. So I'm going to find out how many degrees this is on the positive. So I'm going to go ahead and take the negative 120 and add 360 to it again, because that's going to make it larger. And that gives me 240 degrees. So negative 480 degrees is really 240 degrees.